That's creepy.
It's creepy.
Are you live streaming?
Yeah.
Right
I'm fixing
now?
to paint. Yes, I'm fixing to paint. Hey, what are you doing?
My new Stitch shirt.
Your new
Next on Paranormal.
I can't see your face. Is that on purpose? Okay, here, let me change all my good stuff. You're having too much fun with this.
Yeah, he's made.
I'll be right back.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna get some water. Why? Why are you acting suspicious? Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
You're trying to run into me.
Why are you being suspicious? Baby, what is wrong with her? Why is she being suspicious?
There's reasons.
Well, they're probably tired of your crap, so I wouldn't grab them anymore.
No. I was coming towards her, and then she stick her claw in me.
Yeah, she probably doesn't want something? Don't be crazy. Don't be crazy. He's gonna living la vida loca.
Paranormal caught on camera. What is haunting this monastery?
Hola?
In Argentina.
It looks to be a person wearing a white robe, which would make sense in this context.
Did a teenager on a hunting trip
Oh, what the crap? Is that a guy?
Whoa.
capture a skinwalker in Arizona?
Dude, that was a skinwalker. What?
I would have guessed that it was 7
Can you
feet
hand
tall
me
or
all
so,
of
and
the
just
yellow
had like
petals,
disproportionately long arms.
A man in England has been living with poltergeist activity
Poltergeist.
for over a decade.
I do think that I'll probably be experiencing some kind of paranormal activity for the rest of my life.
And even more paranormal footage you have to see to believe.
That is incredibly close.
It's believed that when a building is abandoned, it retains some of the energy from those who once
Strawberries did
occupied
what?
it.
Almost fell.
No.
And if that building was one of worship, where inhabitants were focused on spiritual practices, that remaining energy can be palpable.
Was it sour?
Now, combine that with activity brought in by others who may have used the now abandoned space for less than holy activities, and you've got a recipe for a haunting
Hola?
that's off the charts.
I'll have to plan it.
February 2023, near Buenos Aires, Argentina.
She spent the night
Oh my god, look at the size of this place.
next weekend.
Paranormal investigator Frank
Wonder what I
Mendez
can pay.
is alone at an abandoned monastery that's believed to be haunted.
Yeah, if she spent the night next weekend, she could probably stay Sunday and
I'm
Monday.
actually
if she
really
wanted
creeped out
to.
being in here.
Because I'll be off Sunday, Monday.
According to Frank, locals claim the recently deserted building has been used for
You
rituals
don't know if she wants to.
and sacrifices, and had to be blocked off by police after a dead body was found.
No, not
Near
a
the
dead
altar.
body.
Time for the rest
This
of
has
the
a ton of history,
strawberry.
which is why I'm always thinking that this place has got to be a bombshell, an activity spot.
What's your makeup?
I'm painting Lolly's.
What the hell is that?
I mean, yeah, her rose, the tip of her roses.
What's
My
your
name is
rose
Frank, and this is my
It's
video.
gonna be like those roses that you
So
see that
upon
are
walking
yellow,
in
but
there,
they have like
I
red
just
on
feel
the
like
tips.
anyone at any moment could just pop out and just scare the hell out of you.
I
Hola?
don't know what they are or what they look
Hello?
Very pretty.
Oh my god. I feel like something's in there. It's intense, just walking inside this place.
like. Time to get to the
Frank begins the investigation by using an obelisk app, a medium that spirits
Hey,
can
you're gonna
manipulate
throw that away,
and
right?
choose words from its database
Okay.
in order to communicate with the living.
Why'd you say it like
I'm gonna
that?
start making my way
'Cause I wanted
into this gigantic place. You guys haven't seen
Sounds
anything yet.
suspicious.
Do I?
It is
Yes.
a priest.
That
Can
was
you tell me where I'm at?
You want a cat here?
What the hell is this?
I had a bad past.
Oh my god.
Oh, not even a
Did you?
cat here.
The things that are coming
Cat
through
hair.
definitely reminds me of stuff that would be said in a confessional. I had a bad past.
I had a bad past.
And the words like priest. It's like, of course, what would you do? You would go sit with a
Okay, go
priest
for it.
to confide in them and tell them about your sins,
I'm gonna
your
watch my
bad
spookies
past,
and
to be healed
paint.
of those sins through prayer that they subscribe to you.
Now that it's clear that something is here, Frank heads back inside to continue communicating.
Hello?
When
Hola?
did you see it? Watch again as a white figure manifests on the left-hand side of the screen, which Frank doesn't notice.
Hola?
Until he reviews the footage later.
Not every day you get to see a manifestation, and kind of unfortunate it happened when I was not even paying attention to the camera. I was just looking forward. Hola? In another way, I'm happy I didn't see it.
At first glance, it looks to be a person wearing a white robe, which would make sense in this context of the monastery.
It's all making a lot of sense. But after spending a few hours here, Frank is exhausted.
Okay, I'm leaving. I think I had enough for tonight.
And decides to leave.
That's when you say, don't
But he returns the
follow me.
following night to finish his investigation.
I actually had to take a break in the middle of it and come back because I was so freaked out.
Unfortunately for Frank, he's about to get even more freaked out. Watch closely. Did you see that?
No, what?
Watch again, zoomed in, as a dark figure seems to peek out at Frank and duck back.
What we see in the window, what he captured on camera, is really in the wheelhouse of that classic shadow figure. It's dark, it's solid, it can be seen and measured with the height and the distance of the windows that we're seeing. It is definitely there.
And apparently, it's not the only thing that's there.
What the hell is that? There's something else out there. I can hear the cows, but I hear something else screaming. So as I heard that, the first thing that came to my mind was like a wendigo, like a skinwalker, wendigo, some sort of animal thing in the forest, and kind of like bothering the animals or agitating the animals. I think one of the things that stood out to me is that I heard what sounded like a dying cat just screaming. And that's when I was like, oh, that's not a cat. That cannot be a cat. What the hell is that?
I went to a school for zoological research, and so I know a lot about animal behavior. And every animal that I heard sounded distressed. They kept getting louder and louder and louder.
I don't know what the hell's going on out there.
Hello, they made
And I have experienced when investigating in the outdoors that animals will give you clues to the just general baseline energy of a place.
Whether or not that's what's happening here, the terrifying sounds are more than enough to tip Frank over the edge and get him to leave. For good this time.
I've never felt so drained in my life going to explorations like this one, but this one is horrifying. That place is one of the most creepiest locations I've seen. I can't even say that there's just one spirit haunting that place. Hola? I would say that there's more and possibly something else on the outside that is just as creepy. What the hell is that?
Coming up, a hunting trip in Arizona
Oh, what the crap? Is that a guy?
takes a terrifying turn.
Dude, that was a skinwalker. What?
There's a malevolent, shape-shifting being derived from Navajo folklore called the Skinwalker. A creature that can transition from human to animal at will, and use that ability to cause great harm to anything that crosses its path. And though some might assume that spotting a Skinwalker from afar would allow some time to escape, there are many others who believe that if you've seen it from any distance, even the high-powered scope of a hunting rifle, it's already too late.
Oh, what the crap? Is that a guy? He's walking creepy. What the frick?
February 23rd, 2023, near Eloy, Arizona. TJ Worthen is on a hunting trip with some family and friends. While they're setting up camp, TJ and a couple of others are looking through a high-powered spotting scope with an adapter for his phone so they can all watch as he records. About 3 miles away, they spot some coyotes in the foreground and dogs further out.
How do you track them? There's 2 more black dots.
And then...
Oh, what the crap? Is that a guy? What the frick? What was that? He's walking creepy. Dude, that was a skinwalker. What?
Watch again. As the coyotes disappear into some brush. Moments later, an oddly shaped humanoid figure emerges.
Oh, what the crap? Is that a guy? What the frick? What was that?
My name is TJ and this is my video. To me, it looked like a tall person figure, like I would have guessed that it was 7 feet tall or so, and it just had like disproportionately long arms.
Oh, what the crap? Is that a guy? What the frick?
So off the bat, I was confused and just trying to figure out like, what could that have been?
What was that? He's walking creepy. Dude, that was a skinwalker. What?
Being from Utah, there's actually a place here called Skinwalker Ranch, and there's been a few times where I'll hear stories about them and be like, there's no way that's real, right? And then after seeing something like that in person, my first thought, was that a skinwalker, you know? Because that's what we would have related to, is pretty odd looking, and skinwalkers can be like, they can look lots of different ways.
What the frick? I'm gonna go get my gun. That was a skinwalker.
I wouldn't necessarily say I was afraid, but we all did sleep in the tents with our guns next to us since we were on that hunt.
So, what exactly did TJ see that day? Through his scope.
You can judge a little bit of the size of it because there's some dogs playing in the not too distant background. And this figure's there. It looks like a large humanoid figure, and it's moving across the field at a very decent pace, looking like it's maybe swinging its very long arm.
Oh, what the crap? Is that a guy? What the frick?
Whatever it is, it's freaking odd.
What the frick? I'm gonna go get my gun. That was a skinwalker.
Given the location and the animals that were nearby, perhaps TJ's instincts are right.
One of the most common animals that a skinwalker is purported to turn into is a coyote. And we see in this video 2 coyotes walking quite naturally into the underbrush, and out from the other side emerges what appears to be this misshapen sort of humanoid figure. And this correlates with the stories that people have told about skinwalkers.
And if it was in fact a skinwalker, how much danger were TJ and his friends really in?
Now, a skinwalker comes from First Nation lore that a shaman, a medicine man, or someone in the tribe went dark, went rogue, and messed with forces he should not have, and essentially becomes this creature, becomes this shape-shifting embodiment of evil. Now, if that's what they saw, I would get out of there right away.
Fortunately, TJ and his friends and family escaped from whatever this thing was, unharmed. But his experience serves as a reminder that no matter your beliefs, there are still many things out there that are well beyond our understanding.
It sort of was an eye-opening experience, I'd say, like, because you'll see videos that you would obviously think, oh, these are fake, right? As you see them on the internet and you think, that's very well put together, very well staged, but I'm not gonna believe that. And it sort of made me believe, like, some of these videos, they may not be fake and they may not be staged, but it's just the sort of thing that you have to see by yourself in person to notice it. So it kind of gave me that realization that, like, people don't always fake these things.
Oh, what the crap? Is that a guy? What the frick? What the What was that?
Coming up, a man in Ontario.
It's actually getting brighter, really bright.
With more than 1,000 UFO sightings.
That's a lot.
If you've ever looked to the sky in hopes of seeing a UFO, you probably know how fruitless it can feel. After all, it seems that much of it is being in the right place at the right time, otherwise known as sheer luck. But what if someone told you that all you have to do is think in the right way, and the UFOs will simply appear? Crazy, right? Not according to one man in Ontario.
I got an object coming out of the southwest.
Who claims to have the ability to see UFOs almost nightly. And believes the rest of us can too. In Ontario, Canada, on October 8th, 2020, Giulio Consiglio witnessed his first unidentified aerial phenomena in the skies above his townhouse. Since then, he's had more than 1,000 sightings and captured more than 500 of them on camera. Here are just a few from his collection.
Got an object. It's actually getting brighter, really bright. Not a sound.
My name is Giulio, and these are my videos. These are the objects that I've been experiencing. The initial sightings began a few times a week and quickly accelerated almost to the point where 5 or 6 nights of the week I'm having multiple encounters.
That is really close.
The sightings are usually fleeting, maybe up to a minute, and essentially they will go lights out.
Thursday, July 27th, 2023, second sighting of the evening.
Did you catch that? Not only is there the main UFO at the top of the screen, but a smaller one seems to depart from it and move left, while yet another one appears for a split second at the bottom.
I've come to realize that there's a lot more going on usually in the background, so you have to sort of be aware and become more discerning of what you're looking at.
But there are also times when what Giulio is looking at is clearly not from here.
Appears to be only maybe 400 or 500 feet above ground.
This one really got me, because as far as we know, there's no commercial aircraft, there's no military vehicle that could stop on a dime like this and fly off in the other direction at such a high velocity.
There's triangle, folks. Coming in, multiple orbs.
The fact that he's capturing this variety of different types of UFOs, not just your classic sphere-type object.
Holy, there it is, right there, right there, right there.
These linear-shaped,
multiple orbs.
These clusters. He could be capturing not only these different types of UFOs, but different types of beings that are associated with this craft.
Not a sound coming from this object.
All of this makes me wonder if, as we are having congressional panels about UAPs and what's out there, if instead of disclosure coming from the governments, it will rather come from the people.
And now I got this object.
The people that are holding up their smartphones and other cameras and looking to the skies.
That is quite large. And that is not very high.
One of the most challenging things when it comes to the UFO phenomena is that, first of all, a lot of people don't look up into the sky, and they don't know what they're looking at. They don't take the time to try and decide if this is conventional or not. And number two, they don't record it and they don't report it.
Coming in, multiple orbs.
Julio's trying to go through this whole process and let other people know, hey, if you just look up, I'm seeing stuff all the time.
That is moving incredibly slow.
But according to Julio, it's about a lot more than just looking up.
My deep understanding in tuning into the frequency of the phenomena is that they are essentially parallel future versions of us.
That is incredibly close.
What I should note is there's a lot more going on in the unseen, and there's a lot more going on than just this single reality that we are experiencing as human beings.
And Julio believes anyone can tap into this other reality if they are in the right frame of mind.
If one hasn't practiced meditation, that would be a great way to start. Raise your vibrational frequency, just raise your energy. The other thing I would suggest is approach a potential sighting without fear and non-attachment.
Friday, July 7th, 2023, just before 11 p.m.
Because they're not really moved. These are essentially enlightened beings. It's all consciousness-based technology, and they're not moved by frustration from another.
I just got goosebumps.
This is incredible.
Look at that. Look at it. It's coming this way, man.
It's coming this way.
It's coming this way. That's coming.
It's coming this
towards
way.
us.
So, next time you're looking up, try spending less time scanning the sky and more time opening your mind. And it might just blow you away. Coming up, a ghostly figure manifests on an Arizona highway.
Cause I see you.
Some believe that when a person dies traumatically, the energy of that moment is transferred into the surrounding area, making the potential for lingering spirits significant. If so, then the roadways of the world, with over 1 million violent deaths recorded every year, are probably some of the most haunted places on Earth. Just ask anyone who's experienced the woman in white, the vanishing hitchhiker, or, as one truck driver in Arizona may have witnessed, the wandering ghost of a recent car crash victim. March 11th, 2023, Arizona. It's 2:30 a.m. and William Church, a truck driver from Florida, and his fiancée are heading toward Phoenix on Route 87 when they spot something in the road. And though William thinks it looks like a person at the time, because they are in the middle of the desert with not a single car in sight, it makes no sense. And as they have no interest in stopping to investigate, they just keep on moving. But when William posts the video to social media, many think they know exactly what it was. A ghost.
The first second this figure appears, it makes you wonder, is this a living person standing at the side of the road? But just a second later, you can see that it's transparent in some areas and translucent in others. Clearly, a living person is not going to be out in the desert in the middle of the night and wandering across a highway with speeding vehicles on it.
To me, I'm literally seeing what looks like an apparition standing there, about 70% fully formed, manifesting right on the road. It's not walking, it's not in motion. It almost makes you wonder, could there have been a fatality right there?
In fact, just a few weeks prior to this, a car wreck occurred near the 201st mile marker between Payson and Phoenix, where one person died. And William had just passed the 200-mile mark when he captured this ghostly figure on his dash cam.
When people die on these impact deaths, sometimes you don't realize you're about to get hit fatally by something. I think that there's a moment in those types of deaths where your spirits don't really realize what's going on. And I think that's why you have these types of ghosts on the highway, where after time, I think that ghost will eventually like dissolve into the energy field. But when it's so fresh, you still have these ghosts that come around because they still haven't processed the severance of their body yet.
If so, could this have been a kind of warning to William? Because it just so happens that Highway 87 has been called one of the most dangerous roads in Arizona for its many curves.
This is an unbelievably common thing that we see in local legends from all across the world. Dangerous highways gain ghosts, and it almost takes on this charitable tone that these ghosts are here to spare us that same fate. Rarely doing anything, rarely saying anything, but just standing as a reminder for the dangers of that location.
The flip side of it is, what if this is a spirit not connected to that tragedy whatsoever? Maybe there's almost like a transient nature to a specter. Maybe they're trying to get somewhere, and that this is the only way they know how.
Or perhaps the specter represents something a little darker.
There are those who believe that these wandering highway ghosts are actually something evil. It's not a tragic story of someone who can't get home, who will never get home, but it's a more sinister tale of those good Samaritans who stop to help become victims themselves.
If that's the case, William's decision not to stop, at least in this situation, was most certainly a good one. Coming up, a poltergeist in England refuses to let up. Most people will go their entire lives without ever having a significant paranormal experience. Then, there are those who simply can't escape them. And whether it's because of their beliefs, an ability they were born with, or perhaps simply sheer chance, it can weigh a heavy toll. Just ask a man in England who's been living with poltergeist activity for over a decade.
I want you to leave my house.
And it shows no signs of ever stopping. Near York, England. Last time we saw Michael McGee, he was dealing with paranormal activity in his home.
Is there anything else? Whoa.
And at the time, though he found it fascinating, he had no idea how to stop it.
If there...
All these years later, Michael says nothing much has changed, as he still witnesses unexplained events 2 to 3 times per week. And all the footage you're about to see are new captures from the many cameras he's placed around his home.
Hi, my name's Michael McGee, and these are my videos. Over the last 5 years in particular, the activity has fluctuated so much. It's gone from, you know, the odd noises, creaks, bumps, footsteps, to things literally being thrown across the room. Glasses actually shattering against the fireplace. I'm not actively worried for my safety or anything like that. The spirits that are present, I genuinely believe, only want attention or to communicate. But the fact that it's possible for them to move things around, all it takes then is one negative spirit to come in and to use that ability to do something bad. That risk is very real.
A lot of this activity strikes me almost like a petulant child, one that's throwing a temper tantrum to gain attention. Look at me. Pay attention to me.
In addition to the small objects we see being manipulated around the household, there's also the sound of footsteps going up and down stairs. Poltergeists are often thought to be noisy spirits. This is implied by their name, and this one certainly falls into that category.
But who exactly is still trying to get Michael's attention?
I don't think it's just one. I think that there is this constant sort of back and forth where different spirits are coming in and trying to get my attention. Once they've had it, they've had a communication, then they move on and somebody else sort of takes their place.
And why are they so attached to Michael?
There is an innate sensitivity about me. I've always considered myself quite empathic, and I think that sensitivity has brought me a little bit closer to them.
We use a lot of different words to talk about this quality of being receptive, especially open, kind of receptive in a way where you can't even control that you are being impacted by other people, where there are literal spirits or energies or presences, and you can't or choose not to put up a wall between you and them. And whether that is a blessing or a curse is entirely dependent on individual experience.
Because the activity shows no signs of stopping, Michael says he's tried smudging, cleansing, and even blessing his home. And while the activity quiets down for a little while afterwards, it inevitably comes back.
If the smudging and the blessing of the home is not working to eradicate these things and he still has this activity, there seems to be something personal or something with him individually that is actually charging these things. You have to shift something there to stop that from happening.
Unfortunately, after living with it for so long, Michael fears that at this stage, he might already be past the point of no return.
I do think that I'll probably be experiencing some kind of paranormal activity for the rest of my life. And I think it's all down to this sensitivity that I have inside me. I think that and my interaction with it over all these years has just opened a door that I don't think I'll ever fully be able to close.
Coming up, what is lurking around this cemetery in Ireland? Cemeteries are not just a place for the dead to rest. They also serve as a physical space for the living, to engage with those they have loved and lost. And then, after all of the surviving relatives of the person buried there have also passed away, the memorial still stands, both as a reminder of those who have come before us, and also, some believe, a playground of sorts for other beings who are slightly less tethered to the earth. As one woman in Ireland recently captured on camera.
Absolutely amazing.
October 2021, Wexford, Ireland. Suzanne O'Farrell is exploring the centuries-old Carrick graveyard.
I've never been here, so I'll be interested to see what we'll find.
Pursuing her interest in headstones and the lost lives they represent.
So already I can see a headstone and some larger ones in there, but it is really, really overgrown.
Hi, I'm Suzanne O'Farrell, and this is my video. I'm interested in old Irish cemeteries. I go and video them, I read the headstones. Sometimes you feel peaceful, sometimes it feels a bit creepy. This one to me felt enchanted.
Look at that, the sun is out.
Though she's come to visit the dead, she doesn't yet realize she's about to capture something living.
Oh, wow. We've more here.
Watch closely.
And we've a few trinkets on this tomb.
Did you see it?
No.
Watch again, in slow motion. As a tiny figure with wings flies upward. When Suzanne spots the creature later, while editing the footage, she believes it could be a fairy.
It wasn't until edit, when I was able to blow it up, that I thought, wow, it doesn't look like a bird, it doesn't look like a fly. You can see the wings, you can see her legs, and I mean, it was amazing to see.
In the United States, you're more likely to find a person that believes in ghosts, but laughs at the notion of fairies. But these are very real entities that people believe in other parts of the world, like Ireland.
We have lots of folklore. We have leprechauns, we have fairies, we have the banshee. I mean, I've grown up loving fairies. You know, I used to have books when I was a child, but I didn't go in to video a fairy or to video anything paranormal. This just happened.
So really, really beautiful here. Very enchanted and serene.
But as remarkable as this capture is, after Suzanne posts her graveyard tour to social media, a follower points out that the fairy wasn't the only paranormal thing she encountered that day. Watch very closely.
That is obviously his beautiful headstone with the shape of a harp there engraved.
Did you catch that? Watch again. To the right of another headstone, as a small figure suddenly seems to duck back behind it.
It just blew my mind because it is clearly a ghost. I'm reading a different headstone. I pan the camera around. You can see the ghostly figure looking, taking a second look, and then it's like she's caught and she hides again.
Unlike most shadow figures, this actually has some facial definition to it. It seems to be the specter of a woman in a dark robe with a pale face.
To me, it does look like an old, haggard woman who's hunched over and wondering what Suzanne's doing there.
And what Suzanne is doing there could very well be the trigger for this phenomenon.
Sun and the moon, crucifixion.
Because just moments later, without even having seen the ghost at the time, Suzanne makes her way over to the very headstone it ducked behind.
Here lies the body of Susanna, who departed this life October 17th, 1806.
When someone passes, to kind of keep their memory alive, speaking their name and celebrating them, that has some power to it. And also, I think, it has this ability to evoke maybe their ability to appear when you're mentioning their name and actually bringing them up. So you're giving them life just from the fact of using your words or spell when you're talking like this.
May heaven be their bed. Ah, beautiful words.
I think once you start going to resting communities a lot and looking at the names and dates on the headstones, you start to realize that every one of these people resting here had a story. And it's always cool to acknowledge the people that came before you.
As a tribute to his unselfish work for Ireland's liberty. Wow.
And for Suzanne, our connection to those in these stories and the entities that surround them is undeniable.
I'm spiritual. I do believe there's something out there. I do believe we leave our bodies and, you know, the soul is still there. It's energy at the end of the day. When you actually physically see it, it's like, I'm right. You know, I know it's true. It's there. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes now. But look at that.
What should you do in the event you witness something paranormal?
Run.
Here are some tips to get it all on camera. Never stop filming. Even if you're scared.
Hola?
Check your footage for anything unusual. Trust that what you're seeing really is otherworldly.
Holy
And
the frick?
If you do catch something,
Dude, that was a skinwalker, what?
email us at submitparanormal@gmail.com. Your footage could be seen right here on Paranormal Caught on Camera. Next on Paranormal Caught on Camera. A group of investigators.
Need more pink flash. Okay, that's all for tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing some totally unscripted, unhinged D&D with the kids. I'll show myself they don't want to be seen. So